Hi, so I wanted to make a video on some interesting combinations for civs and leaders in the Antiquity age for Civilization VII. This guide is going to be mostly coming from a multiplayer perspective, but I feel like a lot of the tips here will also apply for single player, just because the game's still in its infancy. The multiplayer games I'm playing are in the Civ Players League Discord. They're 5-player games. They have AI on the other continent, there's no way around that currently. Unfortunately, we can't have more than 5 players. And Antiquity Age start online speed. A lot of the time we're playing with mementos on, but banning the most broken ones is basically how it's currently working out. So yeah, in terms of this video, we're just going to go over combinations for civs and leaders that are particularly broken or interesting. And we've got 4 here, whichever ones we're playing with in this game. We've got Xerxes, Achaemenid, Aksum, we've got Charlemagne, Mauryan, we've got Trung Trac, Rome, and we've got Machiavelli with Maya. So I'm just going to go through each of these 4 ones and explain why it is they're such good combinations, and explain how you can make them work, why they synergize well, particularly the Civ and the leader in this instance. And yeah, we'll just go through them from my guy to the right. So Xerxes and Aksum is a combination that people have kind of realised is incredibly strong. I started playing Aksum the second day the game came out and thought it was a bit weak at first, but it really is actually very, very good. People have quickly realised in this game that 2 of the best things in the game are influence and gold. This Civ just has a crazy amount of gold. This Civ leader combination, I should say, has a crazy amount of gold, and it just gets loads of free culture. And why is this? Well, if we look over here, so we get +1 trade route with all of our leaders. What this just means is you don't have to spend your diplomatic favour on getting extra trade routes. So this is basically a diplo favour bonus that kicks in into the early mid game. You also get 50 culture and 100 gold per age when you create a trade route or road. This is also incredibly good. You get these quite a lot because you have this extra trade route. You also get +1 culture and gold per age on unique buildings and improvements. This is not that good for most civs, but when used in conjunction with Aksum, it is incredibly strong, and we'll explain why that is. So, what do they get? They get golden resources. This is good. It basically just means you're immediately making extra gold, which just means you're going to be able to buy your buildings in your early cities and towns for much, well, not much less. You're going to be able to buy them earlier than anybody else, which means you're going to get the advantages of them earlier. You're going to be able to buy slingers if you need to. You're just going to, yeah, it's great having a little bit extra. You only start with a small amount of gold in this game, 5 I believe, so having this extra gold is extremely helpful. You can sometimes get it from turn 1 as well, and sometimes you're just going to be in 15 GPT turn 10ish when nobody else is. The next one is the Dao or Do, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, which is unique naval unit. +4 combat strength from coast, has 1 charge. This charge here is what makes it strong, really. It's basically every single one of them gives you a naval trade route, and on top of that, this is a unit that has multiple tiers. Now what does this mean? This means if we go over to the tech tree, it first gets unlocked here, right? But then there's a second tier to it here, or tier 3. There's a second tier which is tier 3 because there's not a tier 2 version of it. What this means actually, the way it's been coded, is that if you upgrade this, you actually get another charge. So every single one you build, you get a charge here, and then another charge here, which is incredibly strong. So this means every single one of them gives you basically an early game trader and a late game trader at the cost of an upgrade, which you need to do either in your land or someone you're allied with. These obviously only work on the coast, but you can trade to a city. Even if the city centre is not on the coast, you just need to have a tile on the coast that you can trade with. On top of that, the range of naval traders is significantly longer than land traders in this game, which means you're going to be able to get more traders to further away cities easily. On top of this +4 combat strength from the coast. I actually had a game where I was defending against a guy who just pushed me really hard, and a lot of my cities were coastal, and I just put him in a situation where he just couldn't hold any of my cities, even if he took them, just because I just was repeatedly shooting him with this +4 combat strength unique unit, which is quite strong actually. Just being able to never take naval cities from a guy if they're exposed enough is very, very strong. So this can be used defensively quite well. Though I would say, as far as I know, there's basically no naval fighting in the Antiquity Age between players. Like, you're not going boat versus boat very often, so that doesn't matter too much. The tank, well, we've kind of already covered this, but it's basically just the trade ship. It has 10 extra trade route range and cannot be pillaged. Yeah, it's great. And then this all just feeds back into these bonuses here. Like, you have more trade routes, you get extra gold and culture per trade routes. So strong. These just synergize so well. But these two leaders, this leader and Civ combination, is the most synergy between anything in the game, I think. And then to top it off, we've got the Hawilt, which is unique building. +2 gold, +1 culture for adjacent wonders and other Hawilti, which this bonus is the part that makes it strong. So what this means is you basically just want to put them all over every single tile. Unfortunately, it's only flat terrain, so if you have an area that has 4 flat terrain and a diamond, let's say, then you can just place 4 of these down, and it's going to be adjacent to 3 of them for some of them, and 2 of them for some of them. And you're just going to get a huge amount of free culture. But yeah, that's not all. We get +1 culture and +1 gold from Xerxes' bonus on unique buildings and improvements. So the base of this is basically +3, +2, and then you're getting the bonus for being next to other ones. What this means is you can essentially just start spamming these as soon as they're unlocked and put them on every single flat tile in your empire, especially if there's ones in triangles, diamonds, or larger flat areas, and just get an insane amount of free culture and gold. Take into account you can buy unique improvements in this game as well, so what you do is you just improve tiles, buy the unique improvements, and then that feeds back into your gold per turn, which is already going to be crazy when you're in the mid-game in this Civ. Overall, this just makes this Civ incredibly strong. You get so much gold, you get so much free gold that isn't even showing up in your gold per turn, you get so much free culture that isn't showing up in your culture per turn. Yeah, gold is so strong as well. Like, you can just spend all your time producing wonders because you do not need to buy. You do not need to make buildings. You can just buy them all. It's very strong. One negative thing about this Civ is trade ships can't actually go into other people's land without open borders, whereas merchants can. So you will have to ask for open borders from players. Just be slightly smart about this, and if you're sending traders to one player, just try and make sure you're putting like 2 ships in within the time of one opens borders deal, so you don't have to repeatedly send them. But yeah, that's that combination, which I think is like the best one, the most interesting one at least for me. The next one is Charlemagne with the Mauryan. This one doesn't necessarily need to be done with the Mauryan, it's also great with Khmer, but what this does is this is a leader where you want happiness, and you're also getting free cavalry, which are stronger if you have more happiness, because happiness feeds into celebrations. So, having this happiness is giving you more celebrations. You're playing a Civ that has 2 buildings that give you extra happiness, and it has a unique unit, which is a cavalry unit. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this already. If you just play an extremely high happiness build order in this Civ, you just rush immediately for your unique unit, and then you build a few of them, you get a few of them every time you have a celebration. Then what you can do is just plan a very hard to stop attack, and you're going to be also getting +5 combat strength if you keep the celebrations rolling. You don't need to build as many because you're getting free ones, and you can just roll up to somebody with your unique unit and kill them before they even really know what's happening. This is an incredibly strong war bonus, and together you can basically use this to just completely overwhelm someone. These units themselves are very good, so it's +5 combat strength against fortified districts. using fortified districts to kind of block people is quite an effective way of not dying quickly in this game, so the fact that these can kill them a lot easier than normal units is a big plus. If you've ever fought someone and then they just buy walls in like 4 districts or something, it can really, really slow you down. So this guy has a good way of avoiding that. In addition to this, the settler itself gives additional happiness, and the unique quarter gives additional happiness. Like, so much of this Civ's bonuses just goes towards happiness, and then the leader gets so many bonuses from happiness. It's great. On top of that, if you've got all this happiness, you're getting free celebrations all the time, which is plus 20% food, and you're getting additional social policy slots. It's just a very nice build order where you feel you're getting a lot of free stuff, and you've got a clear path to kill someone and set yourself up for the later part of the game. And let's not forget, you do get an additional pantheon in this civilization as well. So if you have the right spawn for it, this can be incredibly good. Like taking something like God King and City Patron Goddess, so you're just getting a bunch of free stuff on every single one of your shrines, can be so strong in this game. So yeah, great combination, really fun to play as well, this one. Next one I wanted to do, I don't think this one's quite as strong as the other ones that I've been talking about, but it's a very fun little combo. And this is Rome Trung Trac. So essentially what her bonus is this 3 free levels on your first army commander, more commander experience, 10% science in cities and tropical, and then you get this doubled when you're in a war. When you're in a formal war, sorry. That is different from just surprise warring someone, I believe. So why does this synergize? So basically this 3 free levels, if we scroll down here, so the Roman Legatus gains 1 charge to create a new settlement for every 3 levels it has. Let's remember as well, if we go to this tree here, you actually gain a free army commander when you unlock discipline. So what this means is when you play this civ, you just go mysticism to get your pantheon, and then you go discipline. Maybe you even skip going mysticism early and just go for discipline right away, if you don't really care about your pantheon. And then you just immediately get a free settler. And on top of that, you actually have a very strong commander already, which gets additional experience. So you can do something like just open 2 settlers, get your 3rd settler for free, immediately start gearing up for war with your commander, go bully a city-state, and you already have a commendation on your commander, when most other people probably have like 1 promo or 2 if they're lucky. You can then just go straight into someone else, start killing them, and yeah. In addition to this, the Roman Unique Quarter and the buildings that go in it, the Basilica and Temple of Jupiter, they're both decently strong. They don't really particularly synergize with this, but what these are is just a nice sim bonus to go along with what you're doing. Yeah, the Legion themselves are relatively okay. The problem is that infantry units in this game are a bit slow and they kind of get outshone by chariots and horses when they appear. But if someone's very close to you, for instance, they can still be good. You just need to make sure you're maneuvering them correctly. And if you're in a position where someone's further away, I would just ignore your unique unit and just go for chariots, which seem very strong in this game. So yeah, this is just a fun little synergy where you can have a little game plan where you're immediately getting that extra settler, gearing up for war, going to war with that extra commander bonuses, and hopefully getting that extra science from the war as well as a nice little bonus. The 4th combination is Machiavelli and Maya. I think Maya is probably the strongest of the early game civs, the Antiquity Age civs in general. Obviously the Aksum combinations, there's some really strong combinations, but this one's just the strongest generalist civ. And Machiavelli's possibly the strongest leader in the game for multiplayer. So why do these synergize? It's almost all just because of this ignores relationship requirements for declaring formal wars. What does this mean? It basically just means you can surprise war people, and you don't suffer a massive penalty towards your combat bonus. Now, why does this actually synergize with Maya? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is you can push science extremely easily in this civ with its unique buildings, and also its unique quarter is probably the best quarter in the game, at least in the Antiquity age, giving you back production every time you finish a technology, and you're going to have great science, so you're going to be getting free production constantly. It is so strong. It cannot be overstated how good that is. Now, why is this actually a good war civ? Because on first glance, you could just say, why are we picking this civ? You know, we could pick any war civ. And yeah, this still works with any war civ, but this civ actually has some great war bonuses. First is this unit here. This is really, really good. And archers are very, very good units in general. So having a unique archer, which is better than a normal archer, is incredibly strong. And you can use this to just push into someone. You can start pre-building archers immediately. You don't need to wait for chariots or something like that, so you can get a lot of them out early, use them to kill a city-state, level up a commander, and then you'll be a lot more prepared for war. You also have the Jaguar Slayer. This is great. These traps you can do are actually extremely good if you just put them on the roads between an enemy city. If, say, this guy asks for open borders and then just put a trap here, yeah, if I'm then later at war with the guy, I will just randomly have a unit get hurt and lose its movement for a turn. It's quite good. I actually used that in a game against a guy, and it was quite effective at slowing him down and just like making his ability to get units to the front slower. In addition to this, because this is actually a combat unit and not just a scout, you can pillage with it. So if you just have two of them hanging around a guy's land while you're fighting him, you can just put them on his libraries and start pillaging his libraries, start pillaging his mines, just start ruining his game, and then he has to divert units to go prevent you from doing this. So these are great. But also, this civ just has the best science in the game, in the Antiquity age, hands down. What this means is you can just get chariots before anybody else, you can get horsemen before anybody else. So, if you can get chariots and horsemen before anybody else, then declare a surprise war with your fast units backed up by these two units, which are just going to annoy the hell out of the defender, then yeah, you're in a great spot, because you can often just kill someone before they're even at the point in the game where they're close to being ready for this sort of push. And it is so deadly, so hard to defend. In addition to this, the Maya actually have a unique civic. Well, I can't see it here actually because I'm not playing Maya, but they have a unique civic called Poison, which gives you +3 damage against hurt units on attack, which is incredibly good. It's so good. So, in conjunction, you can just tear through the enemy defenses when they're in a place in the game where they're just not ready to defend. And because of this, this is really, really strong. On top of this, Machiavelli is just a broken leader. He gets influence. As my previous video discussed, this is just the strongest currency of sort in the game. He also just gets free gold, which is the second strongest, possibly the strongest in the game as well. He just gets both the stuff you need for free, and he gets this incredible bonus which just allows you to surprise attack people. The levy bonus itself is not very strong, unfortunately. This is kind of a throwaway line here. Levying doesn't seem to be great in this game compared to Civ VI, which was situationally good. But yeah, overall this is just like kind of just combining two of the most broken things in the game and just putting them into some push that you just cannot defend. If you're playing a multi-age game as well, this unique quarter is incredibly strong because of this bonus here. So you get, as you get further through the tech tree, the science cost of the techs is going to increase significantly, and this is just going to give you a boatload of free production as the game goes on. So yeah, that's 4 of the most interesting combinations we've discovered so far. I hope that was interesting, and I hope there were some combinations you've found yourself that you're maybe interested in, but yeah, these are just the 4 for me that I find the most interesting as of now. If I was to rank them in terms of strength, I do think that the Aksum and Machiavelli combos are very, very strong. This one's a bit worse, but pretty solid. And then this one's a bit more of a fun one, rather than one that's incredibly broken. But yeah, all should be fun to play. You can play around with them, swap out certain elements of them for other civs, and yeah. Thanks for watching the video, and have a good day. Cheers.